Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining this training. I hope you guys can hear me okay. We'll get started here in a few minutes. In about 5 minutes, we'll get started. If you guys want me to go over anything specifically, any specific features or questions that you guys have, feel free to leave them in the chat or, just take it off speaker or take it off mute and I'll make a note to go over that. Um, but we'll get started here in 5 minutes. Yes, someone says in the chat, can you send me the login page link? I can do that. Okay, it's in the chat, so if anyone else wants to join from that link, feel free to send that over to them. If you're just joining now, we'll get started in a few minutes here. We'll just wait till about 1-ish just to make sure everyone's here. All right, so we'll get this training started. There might be a few less people joining us, but no worries. Like I said in the beginning, if you guys are just joining, feel free to leave any comments or questions or specific things that you'd like me to cover in the comments, or you can unmute yourself too if you want me to go over something more specific. One more thing I'm going to ask for you guys is I have this feedback webinar, this feedback survey. We're doing the webinar now. So if you guys have, 5 spare minutes to do that survey, it would just help us get some user feedback and see some areas where we can improve. So just check that out at the end. I'll remind you guys once again. Okay, so this will just be, a general training, a refresher, and we can go more in depth into some features as well. One second, I'm having some audio. Okay, can you guys just confirm that you're hearing me okay? Maybe leave me something in the comments. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me while I go through this. Okay, awesome. Everyone can hear me. All right, so on my screen right now, Meeting Boosters, this is the Meeting Booster flow chart. So you're going to see, the basic steps to, preparing and running these meetings. But the main points of Meeting Booster is it's really going to help you make those board packets, keep track of all those action items, and keep everything very organized, by communities. And then obviously one of the big perks also is having everything automatically archived for you in those community folders. But right here on my screen, it just shows you, the basic flow of preparing, running, and getting those final minutes. So I'm sure some of you guys are kind of familiar with this process. If not, it's just, step one is preparing for this meeting, creating an agenda, maybe using some of our templates in there, or maybe even using a previous template. So then after our preparation, that's just when we actually run the meeting. We have our note card, which will allow us to take notes, assign tasks, and do some other fun stuff in there as well, like a vote. Now, the best part is step 3, because everything you did in your meeting is already done for you in those minutes. So you don't have to go and, compile between Word and Excel all of these lengthy board packets, because it's going to be right there, automatically archived for you. Now, if you guys are, assigning tasks in your meeting, Meeting Booster really helps, with that flow and process. Make sure you won't forget anything, because those tasks will be sent out to those users' emails from a Meeting Booster Don't Reply email saying that they have a new task. Now, not only will they see those tasks in their email inbox, but we also will be able to see it in our task system. So in there you can update it, you can leave a comment, and also even maybe attach a file if you need to reference that. Last thing is, if you guys are some Outlook users, our meetings and our tasks can't synchronize. So if you're a new user in Meeting Booster, this will, just help the learning curve for you. All right, so let's get into it. So some of you guys might be familiar with meetings, some of you aren't. So right here, we're just going to see, the Meeting Booster browser. So it's just a web portal. You can log in from any, Safari, Firefox, anything like that. So to do step 1, prepare for this meeting, we'll just easily press, we'll just press New Meeting. We're not going to get into the meeting series yet. I'm getting a little too excited. Okay, so, everything on our details tab is just going to be, the cover page. So we'll obviously have to give it a title. Maybe this is our board meeting for, May 1st. Can't believe it's almost May already. This year's going by fast. Now we'll just, put it to be May 1st, and let's say maybe this is going to be our 3-hour meeting. Now, for all of you community managers on here, so hopefully, that's everyone, because this is supposed to be specifically for HOAs. This meeting series is going to be a key feature for you guys because it's just going to organize all of those communities for you with all the files and all the board members. So when I choose this meeting to be a part of our communities, it's going to drag in all of our board members lickety-split, just like that. And also this quorum was carried over from our series as well because we set that up. Yes, how do we create these meeting series? That's a very important question. So if you don't mind, I'm going to circle back to that question at the end, just so we have a nice flow. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to make these series. It's really simple. We'll just do that after we walk through the meeting. Now, these meeting attributes are customizable. So if you guys like to have a Zoom link or you're running some of these meetings on Zoom, in the admin, if you have the admin permissions, you can add specific things that you want on your cover page so that if the Zoom link is here, your board members can easily access it. Now, if you guys have a PA or assistant or anyone helping you create these agendas and prepare for the meeting, you will assign them as a co-organizer. Because co-organizer, that's basically their permissions. They'll be able to edit the agenda, add topics, files, and even if you're running late to the meeting, they could start the meeting without you. Alrighty, so now maybe if you have a vendor coming in or someone to present to you guys in your board, we have guest permissions. So you'll just enter the guest's name and their email. So just give me 1 second here. So if we add this guest, there they go. That icon is just going to indicate that they are a guest. 1 second, you guys. I am just checking one thing very quickly. And we'll get back to this. Okay, so we have our guests in here. Now, these guests, they're not going to actually be able to log into MeetingBooster, but you can always still share, the agenda, the minutes with them, and you can even send them a task in here. So if they need to get something done for you. Now, let's make the agenda. So, making the agenda is very simple. You can make it from scratch like this and simply type in your topics. Or what you could do is pull it from a template. So if you know you're going to be basically hitting the same topics in every meeting, maybe just a few extra tweaks, we'll choose to do it from a template. Now, we also can choose a previous agenda from, maybe an earlier meeting if it's going to be that way as well. So when I choose the template, I can assign them to specific meeting series. So what sometimes people do in here is if they want the whole community using maybe a certain template, is they actually set up a shared meeting series. And then you can easily pull, any of these templates into a separate meeting series. I hope that makes sense, but it can be helpful if you want to create, that look, the same look across the entire company for these agendas. So just like that, we've pulled in a nice template. We can always make our subtopics in here with our arrows. We can drag and drop around. And just like that, we have a nice agenda. Now here I can see we already have a bit of a description in here. I can go in and edit that if I need to. And what I can do is let's pre-plan our vote because we're going to have to, approve these minutes. So we're going to have to do a vote. So to pre-plan a vote, we'll just click into the vote, title it. Okay, so this is going to be minutes approval. Now you do have the option to add a description. You can even do a custom voting option. So if it's going to be maybe something other than yes and no. And you always have the option to put on a success criteria. Now you can select weighted voting, but then you'll have to actually, set up those weights, adjust those weights in the actual meeting. So I'll show you guys how to do that, don't worry. Then we get to how are we going to capture these votes. So the most common way I usually see is letting the note taker take the votes. It's the most efficient and it gets it done right there. Now, attendees can vote themselves if they're part of the board and they want to vote themselves. It's just a bit more time consuming because all of the board members will have to log in to MeetingBooster to take that vote. So if everyone's not pulled up onto MeetingBooster while this meeting is happening, it might just take a bit longer. Now, ballots votings. So if you guys are doing maybe a vote with your entire board or with your entire community, what this is going to do is it's not going to necessarily send that vote out to them. But if you're doing that vote externally, maybe on, a paper ballot or maybe poll everywhere kind of app, then once you get those results, you can input them in with this ballots voting and get the results on the minutes. So it won't actually, send those votes out for you, but you can still mark them in the minutes. Either option, you can make the vote anonymous. Okay, so we have that. We can distribute some time in here if you guys want a specific times to stay on track. One thing I find that a lot of people find interesting is rolling topics. Now, this is specifically key for unfinished business. So if you maybe had to park a topic or you had to table a topic, you can easily find them in here. So this will just be our general past topics. Now, if we've parked a topic in the last meeting because we didn't finish it, we can easily find them in here. So let's find a good one. So this has been tabled. Okay, I'm going to add this and this, and I hope they're good examples because when I add these into here, it's going to carry over everything that we did in that topic when we initially spoke about it in the meeting. So here they are. We've dropped them in. We can still, we could still drag and drop these around, if we want to rearrange. But the key here is going to be this blue turning back the clock icon. Now this isn't the best example, but I was just hoping that there would be some more comments in here or a vote, but we only have that it's been tabled, but any comments, any notes, even any votes that you did in it is going to show up right here when you click that blue turning back the clock icon. Alrighty, so there we go. Another thing we have is this attendee input. So within the meeting series, if your boards are helping you in there and putting in some topic suggestions, this is where we can check out maybe what their topic suggestions are. So for example, here we can see their suggestions. Maybe if we want to review these contracts, that's a good one. We could just accept it and it's going to drop in to our agenda. So review contracts up for renewal. Now we can, go in and edit it. We can add some comments if we need to and expand on it. Alrighty. If anyone has questions while I'm going through this, please feel free to interrupt or leave a comment. Sometimes I just get on autopilot and just truck through this. All right, now we have some presenters on here. So maybe if we want to, assign our VP report to Anthony, this will be a way to kind of just put some more responsibility on there for the board. So, if they're reviewing this agenda before the actual meeting, and they see their name on there, they're going to be like, oh, I have something to do for this meeting. I need to prepare. So, this is just going to help with preparation for this meeting as well. Now, our topic statuses, this is just for when one of these topics goes through maybe a certain sequence of approvals. But these topic statuses can also be customized in the admin section. So if you like certain verbiage on there, you can add them. For now, maybe we'll just say that it's been, what's a good one? Let's just say that it's been tabled for now. All right, so one more thing we need to add in here, very important thing, is our files. So, maybe under our VP report, we'll just include some files. Now, these files, they can be any kind of files. They can be a PDF file, a Word file, even an Excel file. And that's just going to be turned into basically a PDF after our agenda to give us that board packet look and feel. All right, so our agenda's looking good. If you guys wanted to save this as a template and you created this from scratch, we would just simply go up here and press the Save as Template button. Then we could choose maybe if it's part of a specific series and then just give it a name. So, and then obviously press Save. That's an important part. Okay. Now, last thing I'll do is just distribute these 3 hours. So now our 3 hours is distributed to all of our topics evenly. We got about 20 minutes per topic. All right. So let's go ahead and make a pre-meeting task. So, we have to do some preparation for this meeting. We want to make sure all of our tasks get completed. We'll assign a task. So maybe for this meeting, we need to prepare financials for budget. Now it's automatically going to be due the date of the meeting because it's in preparation for this meeting. We'll just have to assign it an owner. Maybe I'll assign it to myself. And what I could also do is assign it to multiple people. And save that. Now, these are going to be sent out as soon as we send out this agenda. So, if this is a work in progress, don't send it out yet. Just save and close it and don't send out the invitations if you know you're going to be going back and adding more stuff to the agenda because, you don't want to send it out twice because it's just going to confuse people. But let's say, we're ready to send this out. We would just press send and it would send right from MeetingBooster to their email addresses with a PDF and a link to open it in MeetingBooster as well. Now, before we send it, we're going to want to actually, check it out. So we'll go into our settings. We want to see, what the board's going to be receiving. So first of all, we have a ton of different styles for you to choose from. So pick and choose, whatever works best for you. And then in our settings tab, this is where we can customize it even more. So if you guys like to include your logo, we'll say include logo. You can even include past meeting minutes. So, if those need to be in the agenda, maybe for the approvals and the votes, you can easily, select this and then we can easily find the meeting we're looking for. All right, so those past minutes are attached, and then we have attachment handling. So most commonly, you're going to use the board packet. whenever you use the board packet, make sure to include page numbers because I know you guys are going to have a ton of files in there. But we can also make the homeowner's version or a much simplified version without files if we choose the files excluded version. Now, some people don't like to include a cover page as well, so if you don't want that, you can simply exclude that by unclicking this button. All right, so let's check out how it looks. So this is just going to be the preview right now, but I want to show you guys the PDF version because that's what's actually going to be sent out. The PDF shows how all of the files are attached. Any day now. All right, here we go. So here it is. This is our agenda that's going to be sent out to, our board members. Here we can just see our cover page, and this is where your logo is going to go. Now, all of this information here was put in from our details tab. And then, as we scroll, we have our vote, descriptions, our rolled topic, and our topic statuses. So this task is coming from, that rolled topic. And then we'll just have our files here. Now, one thing about these files is if you are opening it on a desktop, you can click this and it's going to take you down to that file. Now, let's go back. And one thing I forgot to include in here were the tasks. So that's pretty important. Let me go back to my settings and add that. But the tasks, it's optional if you want to have it on there. Okay, it says they're on there. Okay. Let's see, we have a question. Can the system insert the table of contents with the PDF page numbers? Unfortunately, we do not have a table of contents yet. We've been trying to get our programmers working on that, but they've been a little backed up because they've also been working on AI within our system too. So unfortunately, that is not a feature we have yet. All right, let's go back. So, okay, now we do have tasks. So while I keep scrolling through my agenda, we have, this basic task summary for this meeting. This second one, it's going to be, our action item list for the entire community, what needs to get done, not just specifically this meeting. And then as I keep scrolling, if you guys remember in the settings, I chose to include past meeting minutes. This is that. This is exactly that, our past meeting minutes. Okay. And then we'll just see, the board packet and everything that happened, and then we'll have those files included down here as well. So, this is looking pretty good. It's good to go to our board. So we'll just come back and press send now. And there we go, and we'll save and close this. I'm not sure about the watermark to the PDF version. That's a great question. I am going to, if it's okay with you, I'm going to follow up with you on that question so I can ask our programmers just to make sure that we're getting correct information, because I'd hate to lead you into the wrong direction. I don't want to say no, but that's a great question. One second, and I'm writing this down. All right, I'll get back to you on that. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Now if we go to our upcoming meetings, we can see, this meeting we've just created, May 1st, it's right here. So, if the time has come, it's time to run this meeting, we'll just simply go over here and press start. Now, first things first is we're going to take roll call and see if everyone's here for this meeting and if we can meet our quorum. So I will just mark who's here. And then another feature we have in here is you can assign someone as a note taker. So, if maybe you have an assistant or someone who's helping you take these notes, you can assign them that, if you're presenting and you can't do that all at the same time. Then we have, just our pre-meeting task reminder, just making sure that we finish these tasks for this meeting. Then we can go ahead and start it. Alrighty, so we're going to see all of our topics here. We can jump around. You can still edit the agenda as well. So if you're the note taker or the organizer and you might have forgotten a topic, you can easily edit a topic, add a topic, or delete it. All right, so let's go and take our vote. So we see right here, it's just been pre-planned. So all we got to do is just click into it and it's basically ready to go. So, we can exclude our guest from this vote. They're not going to be needing it. And we can, edit some of these too, and we can add on weighted voting. So I briefly brought this up earlier, but maybe, for example, Anthony has 2 votes. We can easily input that, and it's going to reflect that in the percentages here. Now, everyone uses Robert's rules, so we'll just click this little button and select, who had motioned this and who had seconded this. And now we're ready to take our vote. So since I'm the note taker, I'll be marking how everyone voted. And maybe I say no. And there we go. We see our results and who had motioned and seconded it. Now it's not showing us, how everyone specifically voted because we did choose to make this vote anonymous. Done with the vote. So we've taken a vote. Now let's talk about notes real quick. So there's 3 different options for taking notes in here. The first one will just be a general discussion note. So maybe someone in your meeting, one of your board members says, I'd like to discuss next year's dues. That's the first option. The second option will be to mark what a specific board member might have said. So maybe Bob goes and says, while we're at it, I'd also like to discuss the new parking. Discuss the new parking lot. There we go. And, these comments are specifically cool because you can go back into your past meetings, use our little search feature in there to type in maybe Bob's name and follow that conversation that he has been having, across multiple different meeting minutes. Now that takes us to our third option for notes, will be a decision. So we'll just simply press this decision button, and let's say we decide that we'll discuss a new business. Boom. So those are going to be our 3 options for notes. For this third option, decisions, if we go to actually view the minutes, we've made a nifty little filter feature for the decisions. So, we can just see how our minutes are building and what's happening in our meeting. Now, this decisions filter is right up here. So when I select this, it's going to, get rid of all of our notes and just keep the decisions and the votes. So it's going to give you a nice executive overview, just like that. So you can export this into a PDF version too, if maybe, your manager or boss is trying to see, the main points of the meeting. All right. So we've talked about notes. Let's move on. Okay. So let's say, we get to our VP report, Bob's supposed to present, but maybe Bob got sick, maybe he got stuck up in another meeting. The point is he can't present this topic. So what we have is this parking button. This is basically, just going to save this topic for the next meeting when he can present it. So if you guys recall, when I was making the agenda, we had that rolling topics button. Underneath that in the drop downs, there was, all past topics and then our park topics. So this is where that is coming from by just, selecting this parking button. We can also, maybe go and change the topic status. So maybe it's been postponed temporarily. There we go. So now that this has been postponed, Bob can't present. What we should do is, maybe send him a task reminder just so he knows that he needs to present this at the next meeting. He's not here. He doesn't know what's going on. So we'll just easily press this little task button and assign him a task. So let's just say prepare topic for next meeting. Boom. Due date, probably, a week after this maybe. And we can make this priority high as well. Now, all we have to do is just assign it to Bob. And there we go. I previously mentioned that on these tasks, you can also attach an attachment. So you just press this little attachment button, find the file that you need, and there you go. So if Bob needs to reference this file while he's completing it, it'll be right there for him. Now save this and he'll get an email with that task when this meeting is over, so nothing will be forgotten. Okay, now that we've done a task, while we're talking about tasks, we have this nifty task list up here. So if you guys want to have that conversation with your board along the lines of what's still outstanding, what still needs to get done in the community, let's just go and check it out. Now the first tab is just going to be for this meeting, so you're really going to want to look at the series tasks to see what's going on in the entire community, since this is our community folder. So what we can do is, when we're having that discussion, we can say, Asger, is this completed? We can say it's done. We could say this one's done. We could say maybe Connie's 50% of the way complete with that. So it's nice to just, open this up and have that discussion on the fly. Okay, so we've done a vote and we've done notes, we've done a task, and we've done parking. So, those are going to be kind of our main points when we're like running this meeting, but let's see. If we want to, see how much time left is for this topic and we allocated time to each topic, we could see remaining topic time. So we still have 16 minutes left. We're doing good. But, if someone is, going on and on and on and on and loves talking like me, this could just be an easy way to, cut them off politely and move on to the next topic to stay on task. Okay, last thing I'll talk about in here is if someone comes in late to the meeting, we can edit the attending list. Just go up here, press attending, and we can easily mark them as here. Okay, so that's going to be the basics. That's pretty much it for running our meeting. So we'll just end this meeting now. But before I do that, I just want to say, like, sometimes people, when they're running these meetings, there's a lot going on. They're presenting, they're talking, they're having conversations. They might have forgotten something and need to go back and expand on some of these topics. Maybe, look at other people's notes as well. So if you know that you're going to have to go back into here, what I suggest is just leaving the meeting, because then it'll leave it open still for you to comment or add all of these notes of vote onto all of these topics. But when you end the meeting, you'll still be able to edit and go back, but it's going to be for a limited amount of time. So usually it's about like a month long where you can still go back into, these final minutes and press this edit button and edit it. Now, when you edit this, you'll be able to edit basically everything but the main topics in here. So the only thing is, it's just going to be for a limited amount of time rather than leaving it open. Okay, so what we can do is we can send this for approval. So if we need to get some approval from our board members, maybe we could just, select approvals. We'll select who needs to approve this. For best example, I'm going to choose myself. Now, needs to be sent. So we've chosen who needs to approve it. Now we can just select request that approval. And now I'll be able to go, I see I have 2 pending approvals down here right now. So this is where, whoever you've asked for their approval will see this notification. And then I can see, this is the meeting we're referring to right now that I need to approve. So I'll go into here. I can review it, see what's going on, with the comments, the notes, and the votes. And then I can choose to either approve or reject this. So, if I want to reject it and we need to fix some things, I'll just select reject. Then that's where I can make my comments as to what needs to be fixed. So maybe, we need to fix unfinished business topic. It's pretty vague, but you guys get the picture. So we have this comment, we need to fix unfinished business. I'll just select OK. And then, whoever sent you that approval, we'll just go into our past meetings. And here's that meeting. It has a little blue X on here. So that means, it's been rejected. So what I'll do is I'll go back into those minutes. And now I have an icon here under attendee input. So this is where I can see, what do they have to say? Why isn't this approved? And then, I can say, okay, we'll fix the unfinished business topic. It's been read, close, and then we'll just request their approval once more. Now this can go, back and forth, as many times as you need to. Whoops. But this is also, well, this could be, sorry, I'm bouncing around a lot, but this is what that email is going to look like, because you're also going to receive email notifications if you have to approve it or if they've left the comments as well. Okay, so now this exclamation point is indicating it's still pending. So let's just go and approve it, for example. So I'll just go back, approve or reject, we'll give it to them. We'll say, yes, we approve this. And now when I go into my past meetings, I have that blue check mark, which is everything. It's been approved. So now that it's been approved, we can go into here and, we can check out the PDF. Any day now. We'll check out the PDF. All right, so, it just says minutes here now instead of agenda. As we scroll, we see everything that happened in the meeting, from the votes to the notes to the park topic to the tasks we assigned under the topics. But this is like a pretty lengthy document. It's about 10 pages because we still have all these files in here and, all these tasks. So to make that simple version, maybe for the homeowners with maybe no files, no tasks, all we're going to do is just go back into these settings here. Now these are going to be super similar to the agenda settings. So we can still, if we want a different style than the actual agenda, we can change it. In the settings, this attachment handling is where we'll get the homeowner's version. So we'll just want the files excluded version. They don't need all the files. And then under our tasks tab, we'll remove all of these tasks. Okay. And then let's just check out the PDF. And here it is. Look at that, only 3 pages. So, we have our details tab, all of our topics, what happened in the meeting, and, that's basically it. Just the basics of what happened in this meeting. Excuse me. All right, so if that's looking good, we can send this out from right into MeetingBooster. So we'll just press send, and we'll receive that. So you have the option to always send it in MeetingBooster, but you can still, get that PDF and maybe, upload it to your homeowner's portal or, a bulletin board of some kind. Which takes me to how all of these meetings I've run, all of my board packets are automatically archived right here for me under past meetings. So you're not going to have to worry about where they go, but we take it to another level with the meeting series. Because if the meetings are a part of a series, those community folders, then it's also going to be, automatically archived for you in here too. Now, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the series, then I'll show you guys how to make them. So I've been working in Camino communities, so I'll just see what's going on here. In our first tab, this is where all of those board packets are for you. So this is, if they're part of this community, it's automatically going to be archived for you here as well. So not only in past meetings, but also in those folders. Okay. Then we have our tasks tab. This is just going to be where the action item list on the agenda and the minutes is coming from. Now you can still add a task in here and it doesn't have to be associated with a specific meeting. Okay, I'm going to skip over topics for now, but these topic suggestions, I briefly mentioned them. So there's 2 ways to go about this. So these could also, so if you are having your board members in here, they are using MeetingBooster, what they can do is come in here and suggest some topics, that they want to maybe see and talk about in the future. It's super easy to add them. We just select new suggestion, type in a bit of a description. Maybe we want to discuss new parking, discuss new front gate security. Oh my goodness, security vendors. All right, did that. Shouldn't have been that hard. Okay. So, they just type in what they want to talk about. They can even attach an attachment if they want to reference that, and then click save. Now, I showed you guys earlier when we were in our agenda how easy it is to reference these in your agenda and see what's going on and drop it in. So, it's a way to get collaboration from your board, but it can also just be used as a memory list for the manager if they, want to type in some topics that they want to get to in the future. Now our decisions, this is just going to show us, every decision that we've made for this community. So this can be helpful, when it comes to action items. If, we need to contact vendors for invoices, if this decision we forgot to, make a task for it, we can easily, scan this and see, oh wait, I need to contact my vendors and make an action item list for that. So let's just, keeping it extra organized. Now our details, this is, where all of our board members are. So, it's basics of just who's participating in these meetings, and in here is where we can also set up a quorum. Now, if one of your board members leaves, it's super easy to remove them. We'll just go like that, and then we can easily add a new member just like that as well. There they are. And we'll select that he can view all of the meetings. One thing about these two is if you get maybe transferred to a different community, or if one of your managers leaves and you hire a new one, they're going to take over this community. In our admin section, if you are the admin, you can easily transfer this community over to that new manager with all of the past board packets, tasks, and board members, so that the turnover can be easier for them. Okay, last thing in here is our topics tab. So this is just going to show us every single topic that we've had talked about in our community. So it's a good way to find maybe some unfinished business. We can find it here and create a meeting from this topic, so that we just don't forget about anything. That's the best part about these folders is, you're not going to forget everything. By the way, everything is so organized. Okay, so, feel free to leave questions, comments. I'm here to help you guys if anything is confusing, especially on the meeting series. I know it's pretty important to you guys. Okay. Now I want to show you how to actually make these series. So we're under a meeting series. All we're going to do is just press new series. Excuse me. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're going to want to name this community. So, all right, what is it called? Let's say 400 Beach Drive. So we have the name of our community in here. Now, all we're going to do is just add our board members. So we'll just go click the green button and find, our board members. Now you can search their username, or if they're right here, we can just easily add them. And there we go. Now that they're in here, you're probably going to want them to view all meetings, because that includes, those board packets. So we'll choose that they can view all of the past board meetings. And then, if you want to set up that quorum, because it's going to be the same for this community for all meetings, we'll just select this and select our percentages. And then, we can start making meetings in here. So that's basically it to creating these meeting series. So we could just say, all right, we're ready to start a meeting and prepare it. So we'll just say new meeting. And it's already going to be a part of our community. So all we're going to have to do is just the basics: title, date, how long it's going to take, and add any attributes if you want, and maybe a co-organizer. Then you can go along and set up your agenda. So it's very similar almost to making the meetings here. I'm going to pause for one quick second just to see if anyone has any questions on these meeting series. I hope I explained it well. There's just one more thing that I want to cover for you guys. It's just going to be our tasks area. So let's check out our tasks tab. So in here, your key points are going to be, my tasks, tasks created by me, and then our projects. So my tasks is going to be my one stop for all for everything I have to get done, whether it's, for a community, whether it's for multiple communities, whether it's just for myself and it has nothing to do with the community. I'm going to be finding it in here. I can go in and update my completion. I can, check my comments, leave a comment. I have some files on here too. All that good stuff. And I can also see, what I've been completing over the past, few months. So I'll just see, what's been finished. I've been getting work done, so it looks pretty good in here. Okay, let's move on. Tasks created by me. This is going to be your one-stop shop to see what's been going on with your managers or your board members if you've assigned them any tasks. So whoever of you've assigned a task, you'll be able to see their progress in here if they've been updating it. For example, Bob is 0% of the way complete with this, and it's due, next week. So maybe we want to check in with Bob, see if he's making progress. Hopefully he just forgot to update this because, it's due next week. So we can send a notification from right in here by clicking this and then send notification. We can write Bob a message. So let's say, hey there, are you getting this done? It's due next week and you haven't updated your progress. So just like a nice friendly reminder, it's going to go right to his inbox, so you don't have to worry about maybe some other board members seeing, because it's just going to go right to his inbox. So even if he's not being active in MeetingBooster, he'll still receive that and see it. And then lastly, these projects. So projects is going to be a way to group tasks that's coming from multiple different kinds of meetings. So we have a great example is our vendor management project. So if you have a ton of tasks that need to get done for vendors, we can come in here and have it easily organized so that we don't get behind on our vendors. And then these could be coming from a meeting, but it doesn't have to either. You can still make a new task in here that doesn't have to be associated with a meeting, just for the vendors. Boom. And then our details tab here is just going to show us who's actually contributing to this project, who's helping us get these tasks done. Now, similarly to the meeting series, I can easily transfer this over to a different manager if, maybe I get put on another project or, I'm managing too many things. I can easily transfer this over to someone else. Also, like the meeting series, you can easily add and remove people who are contributing to this project. All right, so I'll save and close this, and then let me just show you guys how to actually make one of these projects. So when you're in your tasks tab, under your projects, just select new project. First thing you do is you'll name this. So maybe this is going to be new construction building, new construction pool. So, okay, we've named this project. Now all we'll have to do is add people who are contributing and helping us get it done. So I'll just go in here and, find whoever is helping me. And just like that, I can see them. So from here, I can just go into my tasks tab and, assign a new task. So it's just save it, okay? So for our new pool, maybe we'll say contact contractors about pavers. I don't know, something about the pool. And then maybe we'll say it's going to be due a week from today and this needs to get done now. So it's high. Then we'll just assign it to, maybe myself. And there we go. So it's right there. That's how easy it is to make these projects. And then we'll just save and close this. All right, so that is kind of my overview, my quick training. If you guys want to go into something in more depth right now, we can. If you guys want to see the admin section, we can. Just let me know what else you guys want to see because, I know we have some managers in here, but then we also have some admin accounts. So if there's anything else specific that you guys would like me to go over, please let me know. Okay, awesome. We got some questions. Yes, okay. So when you enter those Zoom links or want those specific things on your your details tab, what you have to do is just make sure that you're an admin on your account. And then as soon as you know that you're an admin, you'll have access to all of these admin permissions. So you're going to want to find this little gear icon on the right-hand side, then press the admin button from the drop-down. Now that we're in the admin section, what we're going to do is under our meetings and tasks tab, we'll go and find our meeting attributes. Now here, I can see I've customized both of these, meeting type and Zoom link. So, one second, I'll get to your question next. So when you're in the admin section under meetings and tasks, select meeting attributes. Now here, you'll just select add and you'll have some options. So, for a Zoom link, you'll want to choose free text because it's going to be a different Zoom link every time. And then we'll just name it. So Zoom link, for this example, I'm just going to put Teams link because I already have that on there. And then you do have the option to make this required on all meetings, but maybe not all meetings are going to be on Zoom, so I wouldn't select that. But then we'll just click save and there it is. So now that'll show on all of your agendas as an option. Now your second question. So it really depends on your preferences if you want the board members to become members or guests, because if they are kind of tech savvy, I'd suggest it because then you could get more collaboration from them and they can easily access any past minutes, and then you can also assign them tasks. What is the meeting type for meeting attributes? So here, is this what you're talking about? Select attribute type. So if you are, okay, so yeah, so drop down is you're going to be able to, put some options while you're setting this up. And then when you're selecting, the Zoom link, you'd have to select one of those options. Not sure what the composite or sequential number is. But free text is going to be what you want for the Zoom link because then you can just paste in or type in any kind of comments in there for you. Does that help answer your question? Awesome. I'm guessing the thumbs up is a yes. So let's talk about this question about assigning a new note taker. So assigning a new note taker that is different from the organizer. Now that has to be done when you're actually running the meeting. So when you go to start it, so if it's grayed out, that probably means that your board members aren't logged in. Whoever's attending your meeting isn't logged in, because let me show you an example. Here we go into, okay, let me just make sure there's an agenda here. I'm just going to drop in a template real quick. Okay, so I'm just going to save and close this. And okay, so we're talking about the note taker. So if I press start, we're running our meeting and we're doing roll call. So right now, this is grayed out because my other attendees aren't logged in right now. But if you wanted to assign someone a note taker, they will have to actually be logged in to be the note taker. So as soon as they have this little green dot next to their name, you can assign anyone with the green dot a note taker. But since I'm the only one logged in and these are all, demo accounts, I'm not going to be able to assign them as the note taker. Does that help answer your question? One more thing also about the note taker is, if you assign someone a note taker, but they have to leave early, we can still go back into our attending list and, maybe assign someone else a note taker if they're logged into the system. That's the one caveat. They have to be logged into the system to be a note taker while the meeting is running. Awesome. Okay. Next question. So does the board have login the software for every meeting? So no. Usually the board does not log in when you're running the meeting because there's no need. If you want them to follow along and, see the agenda, they can do that, but they don't have to be logged in because you're going to be the one hosting this meeting. You're going to be the one walking through and making notes on the agenda. So they don't have to log in. They just have to log in to see their task status, update their task status, and stuff like that. And maybe see, past board packets. Okay. Does that answer the question about the board? Awesome. Okay, so let's go back. Now you are wondering about the user hierarchy and user groups. Okay, so let me just go back in here so I can look at this for a reference. So user hierarchy, this is going to be very confusing. I wouldn't suggest going in here versus user groups. Okay, or do you mean, okay, you mean roles for user hierarchy versus roles for user group. So roles for user hierarchy, this is going to be kind of your one stop for, making groups or making roles for, there's an admin section versus kind of a manager versus maybe a board member. So you're going to want to come in here. Let's see, for a board member. Okay, so basically when you're making these roles for your board members, it's going to be completely up to you what kind of permissions you want to do. So right now, when I click these board members, I can see what they have access to right now. And it's literally just going to be, okay, this is weird. User management. Okay, for some reason, I hope this doesn't show up like this in your guys's because we should definitely not have the board members managing users. So what you're going to want to do in here is if this role isn't set up yet, add it. And then we can, choose what we want them to have permission to. So these are going to be the keys right here. So right now, these X's, they don't have access to anything. What we do want them to have access to is meeting series. So we want them to view other meetings. And we might want them to manage meeting series as well. Now, they're not going to be organizing meetings for us, and so they don't need that permission. So view other meetings, yes. Delete past meetings, no. They definitely don't need that permission. Now, they don't need to be creating meeting series either because the managers will be creating those meeting series and adding them into it. One thing you might want to add is to allow them to manage their tasks. So if you do want them using our task system, updating their percentages, leaving comments, I'd suggest putting that on globally. Oh, actually, you're going to want to put manage tasks on just for direct reports, because if you choose global, then they'll see all tasks for the entire company. So you don't want them to see, you know, managers' tasks. So you just want it to be direct reports here. So honestly, I say just go through here, you know, check out the options for what kind of permissions you want. And this will just be, you know, the basic permissions for the board. Now we'll just save that. And then when we go to users, this is where we can add the board. So we'll just add the users and give them, you know, maybe those specific permissions. Does that help? I know this admin section can get a little tricky sometimes, but you know, just look around, get familiar with it because it's very, you know, it's very user friendly because it says, you know, add user, remove user, green, green. So it's pretty self-explanatory for the most part. You'll just have to look into here. So where do you add the board members? So adding board members, do you mean to MeetingBooster completely as users? Is that what you mean? Yes, okay. So what we're gonna do is user import. So, okay, 1 second. Okay, so user import, if it's going to be a huge list, you know, of maybe a few board members, this is going to be the fastest way to do it, user import. If you are just trying to add maybe one by one users, board members, we'll want to go to user management because what we'll do here is just select this little add button. You'll enter their name, you'll enter their email. The name and the email is required, and make sure that this button send welcome email now is on there so that they can go and, you know, make a username and password to log in. So just enter their name and their email. You might want to enter their title too, just so that you know for sure that they're the board member. And then from here, you can actually assign them their role. So once you know, invite them to MeetingBooster, go into security roles, and then user hierarchy will select add role, and they'll get that board member role. And we'll say okay, and then just make sure you select save. Does that make sense? Do you need me to go over that again? Or is it all making sense? I hope you're following along on your computer because, you know, that would be most helpful. But if you need, you know, me to send you guys the steps or send you the steps on how to do it again, you know, step 1, 2, 3, I can do that too. So you have that for reference. If there's no more questions, one more thing I'll show you guys is we have some awesome tutorial videos. So if you press this little gear icon, press this help button and go to tutorial videos. These videos can help you go at your pace to figure some stuff out. For example, you know, there's an admin section here for adding users. There's a video there. There's some nice videos in there for you guys. So check those out. And then I'm just going to send this link in there for you guys once more. If you have some extra time to fill that out, it would be helpful. But that's all I have. So if there's no more questions, you guys are free to go. I'll just hang back. But thank you all for attending. Yes, you guys are all very welcome. Thanks for listening to me babble on. I hope it was helpful.